Well, the target about who the United States is targeting with their bombing is really pretty interesting. They say they're going after ISIL, but ISIL is a very nebulous and undefined group. That they're, on one hand, they're supporting rebels within Syria to fight the Syrian government. On the other hand, they're fighting ISIL. I think this is a very, very thin smokescreen that will allow the U.S. government to actually commence bombing against Syrian forces, Syrian military, and Syrian government installations. No one has a clearly defined mission. At least anyone outside of the military does not have a clearly defined mission. The United States, elements within the United States have been aggressively trying to engage Syria militarily for a long time. There was the false story about the chemical weapons that turned out to be not true. There was no justification to go into militarily intervene then. If you look at ISIL as an inclusion of the CIA, Mossad, and other intelligence services, then it takes on a different complexion. Like I said, this is a thinly disguised effort to go in and bomb the Syrian government, Syrian military, and to try to topple the Assad regime, which has been on Israel's target list for a long time. Most people who are in the know realize that the U.S. is nothing but the enforcer for Israel foreign policy. There is no U.S. foreign policy. It's only Israeli foreign policy now. If you look at the disaster that's happening in Libya, I expect this to be a disaster in Syria. Iraq has been a disaster. There are elements within the U.S. government that are acting in a treasonous manner to the interests of the United States. George W. Bush warned us about this if we pulled out of Iraq and undid his foreign policy, that these elements would come to bear and they would bring this type of focus, this type of disruption to the region, and that's exactly what happened. You have to understand that under George W. Bush and George H.W. Bush, that many functions that were U.S. government functions, intel, military, et cetera, were outsourced. And now we have these private contractors who are acting independently of what the government mandate is, the U.S. government mandate. These forces that are out there are private military, private intelligence forces. They're operating outside of the oversight of the U.S. government. That's who ISIL is. And they're a danger. They need to be eradicated. And particularly those who provide the material support for them need to be eradicated. And that's what needs to be looked at the most, is who is providing support for ISIL, who is allowing them to access bank accounts, who is allowing them the oil that they steal, who's buying it, who's selling it, who's transporting it for them. Those are all questions that need to be addressed. This whole issue could be stopped very quickly if we would just eliminate those who provide material support for ISIL.